Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SDN Racing for Season 5, Tier 1, Round 3 at the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Indigo and hopefully Milan will be here tonight with me as well as my usual co-commentator. Hopefully everyone's doing alright. We were at the Miami Grand Prix where we saw a dominant display from both Alpine drivers who did a fantastic job to get first and second place. But let's see then what happens here in Austria. Completely different track than Miami. As course, it's much more easy to overtake around here. I will see plenty of DRS trains as well heading up towards turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4 as well, as there's cars then out in the pit lane. It is SQ1 of course, so there's 11 minutes in the first qualifying session. In the second session, Q2, SQ2 and SQ3. So this is going to be a very interesting format because it's my first time doing an SQ1, SQ2 and SQ3 qualifying sessions. So not quite sure if the same rules apply, but here we are then as the drivers make their way on the circuit as we make our way down towards the turn number 3 corner. As we watch our board then, the first driver is going to be a Haas man on a lap time, YS Brand in the Haas. In fact, it'll be his teammate, so we'll go on board with him. And it is, who is it in the Haas? His teammate, as it's Danielle. Here it is then, Daniela coming towards turn 4 then, a famous place also to overtake. We've seen plenty of times where overtakes can happen as well. And sometimes in league racing, you'll see drivers go side by side in turn 6 and turn 7 as Racing Nerd is in the chat. So welcome to you, mate. How are you doing? So last time out, we were at the Miami Grand Prix, and it was a fantastic drive from Zach and Matthias. Those did a fantastic job as Daniel makes his way out of the corner, just squirming there on the exit as he makes his way towards the line with the DRS wide open. There's a few cars behind in quite close proximity of each other as we head down towards turn 1. Then look at that, using all the road on the outside curve there. Het het goed met mij, dankjewel. As Daniel climbs towards turn 3, then now turn number 4 as he hits the brakes really hard using the curb on the outside too to try and utilize all the track with the DRS wide open. Turn 3 can be a very difficult corner as well because it's a heavy braking zone, a heavy traction zone, and you want to be getting the throttle as quickly as you can without losing the rear end of the car, as he has a lockup going in towards turn 4 there as he squirms away. As we make our way now towards turn 6 and turn 7, swooping through is the left-hander, dabbing on the brakes, back the throttle once again, using all the truck on the road on the outside as much as you can get away with it. Put a wheel in the gravel there as he makes his way out of turn 8, using all the curb as well. Some people get caught out by turn 8 because they carry too much speed or run out too wide. Here we are then through turn 9 and turn 10 as he makes his way towards the final corner. This is the first lap time, but it won't be the first lap time because he's just invalidated. It would have been 3.9 there from the Haas man. So unfortunately that lap time does not count, and the Alpine behind him, I think, must invalidate it as well. So a few people on their first runs invalidated. It is a short qualifying session, so you want to be getting the runs in quick and fast, otherwise you run out of time. But YS Brand then goes towards the top of the time machines with a 3.7. That's 2 tenths quicker than what his teammate did if the lap wasn't invalid. But this track is notoriously famous for invalidations, as Shorts goes up into P2 with a 4.2. 7 tenths behind is the Mercedes driver then, so looking to try and improve on that one, as Misha is on the intermediates. But of course Misha, in fact, he's on the medium compound tyres now. I did say the inters, so he must have switched it at the very last second. Here he is then, headed towards turn number 3. We go, look at that, just flicking the car in, but the back end of the car wobbling as he entered the corner there. Daniel was in my team as Tier 1 reserve for 2 seasons. I was thinking about him for full time. Zach and Matthias were if they were here. So Zach and Matthias, they're both not here after a brilliant display, a 1-2 for both of them. But unfortunately, neither driver is here. There's an Alpine of AMS Ghost. So AMS Ghost has the shoes to fill for the 2 Alpine drivers who did a fantastic job back in Australia and also the Miami Grand Prix. We've had 2 races so far this season, so still a long way to go, but at the same time, every single point is crucial. Misha now flies towards the final corner with the DRS wide open as he crosses the line right now, goes up into P4 as he slots himself just behind F1 Shorts. So Eric goes up into P2, but AMS Lucas goes towards first place at 3.7. Now, we haven't really seen much of the Williams pace so far this season, so I really hope that Williams find their form because it's been very difficult, I must say, for the Williams drivers, although they did score P4 and P9 at the Australian Grand Prix, Miami Grand Prix as well. Indigo, are you following F1 esports? Payne's dead. It's been a long time since I've spoken to you. Hello, mate. How are you doing? Thank you for joining the channel. And yes, I do definitely recognise you. If Van goes up into P3 with a 3.9, it's just in there. Every single lap time has been set on the medium compound tyres as Kaiken Haas goes up into P4 in the RB with a 3.9. Milan Langer has joined. But to answer your question, mate, are you following F1 esports recently? Unfortunately, I don't really have the time to follow the F1 esports. I've heard things going on, as usual. Thomas Reynolds, causing a lot of problems, I think, in Saudi Arabia. But I'm not really followed up to date. Alex Jakes and I think it's Matt from FWTF. I had to say it without swearing then. I had to say it without swearing. But yes, Matt and Alex Jakes, the usual Formula 1 lead commentator for F1 TV, on the F1 esports game. Haha, long time. I'm good, thanks. Hope all is well for you. I'm a bit ill, but hopefully get over it soon. And I've been trying to recover for like a few weeks now. So thank you for popping in, Paige. Obviously, you're not going to watch the whole race because I know you got other things going on. But yeah, thanks for popping in. And hopefully we can have a race sometime as well. But first of all, welcome, Milan. Hoe gaat het?
Thank you. I'm good. Het gaat goed. Just a bit late, but I'm here in the end. That's what matters, though, doesn't it?
It is indeed. I'm really glad you're here as Kick makes his way out of the final corner with the DRS wide open. Cross the line now to go over to P1. It's a Williams 1-2, something we haven't seen this season so far. But Kick and Lucas then looking for redemption after what happened at the Miami Grand Prix when one of them got put against the wall by Fireblaze. I know that's Fireblaze and I think it was Lucas who made contact and Kick got away at the same time. But yeah, contact was made between those two guys. I think it was Kick and Fireblaze who made contact. Lucas finished in P4 with Mike in his final race, finishing in P3. But SQ1, Milan, there's only been 11 minutes. And so far, we've only got about 4 minutes left in this session then. So it's a quick SQ1. No mistakes can be afforded to make here in this qualifier session.
Indeed, it's always tricky with limited time, and especially on a track like this where track limits are very, very difficult. You can run right everywhere and pick up an invalid, so it's important to get your laps in. Also, I want to say good news for the Williams boys, as both the Alpines of last week, they are not present tonight, so this is the chance for the Williams team to make up some very good points, make up some ground, and maybe pull away from the Alpine team. As currently they're doing that very much so on the front row, and Kick even setting his lap time on the mediums, proving that he has very much got the pace. 4 minutes left. Finn Geerts still in pit lane, by the way. He's on the wets for some reason. Not sure what his plan is, but he's yet a lap time in the Ferrari, still in there.
And Amos Ghost, who just pops himself into P5 with a 3.9, 2 tenths away from Amos Kick in first place. So it's an AMS 1-5, and the co-commentator, to answer your question, his name is Milan Langer. Oh, Amos Ghost drifts into the corner, but yes, alongside me is the legend himself, a great commentator, a good racer, a good friend as well, and it's nice to have him alongside the commentary box. It's our third time, in fact, it's our fourth time, partner, third time today in this league, but fourth time overall.
Indeed, as Erik goes to the front, 103.5, making it a top 6 for AMS. They're kind of dominating this session. Every AMS driver inside the top 6, but Erik to the top, 103.5, and has put 2 tenths in between himself and the rest. So that's a good lap for him to get a lap time on the board. I'm sure that will be good enough to get himself into SQ2. Goedenavond, Milan. Goedenavond, dank u.
I know that Erik struggled quite a lot in the first few races this season, hasn't had the best results. Finished in P19 with a DNF and also finished in P14. So here he is at the top of the time machines here in qualifying. Can he keep it up? But usually in the sprint qualifying sessions, there is a sprint qualifying in Formula 1 in 2025. So there is going to be a sprint qualifying once again, as usually is at the Austrian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen won the sprint race in Austria until I think Lando Norris and him made contact in the feature race at turn 3, where Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton made contact back in 2016. But Hamilton went on to win the Grand Prix after Rosberg broke his front wing, and the Austrian crowd booed at Lewis Hamilton for that one, even though I must say it was Rosberg's fault, even though I was supporting Rosberg back then. got to give, you got to understand who's to blame there. But yeah, plenty of contacts been made into turn number 3 as well. I saw it back in the past, I think, with I can't remember who it was, but there was like a car smashing into somebody. I can't remember who it was. It was in my head. I think it was like a Sauber Petronas who crashed at turn 3 one time and took somebody out along with him. I think it was like David Coulthard got involved at turn 3 one time in the McLaren.
Yeah, mine F1 knowledge is limited there, but I'm sure you will know. As Finn Geerts finally goes out with 1.5 minutes remain, so he does go out in the end. I was in a party before the race, 1.5 hour ago, with Fireblaze, him and Mike, and he said jokingly that he wasn't going to do qualifying, but in the end he is going out now. So I think he is going to try and attempt to set a lap time. Currently P16, the Ferrari do need the points though, so let's see what he can do. Himself, Daniele and Job, 3 drivers currently without a lap time. Job is on a lap though, he is through the middle sector of the lap now.
And Ferrari's first podium, a second podium of the season as well, because Mike got it and Finn got it in the first race and the second race. So Fireblaze hasn't got a podium yet this season, but SQ1, so it's the bottom 3 who get eliminated, because 16th, 17th, 18th are here, not the bottom 5 because it's not a full grid. So is SQ1, SQ2 and SQ3 the same? Do you know what? I've not really kept up with short qualifying, in fact, sprint qualifying, so it's a bit confusing. But in actual F1, you have to go on the medium compound tyres. YS Bryan goes quickest with a 3.3. I think that's on the soft compound tyres. So SQ1, do you know these sprint qualifiers really confuse me, because it's my first ever time doing a sprint qualifying, like SQ1, SQ2, SQ3. So yeah, a bit confusing, but we'll get used to it. We'll see what happens in the sprint and feature race. That's more important. But so far, it's all about where you start for the sprint race, as the Haas there behind. Who is that? That's Danielle, who's on a lap time, but he gets a lovely tell for his teammate, although he might have picked up a bit of dirty air on the back of his teammate as he heads down towards turn 4. Pretty much a double slipstream, because there's a Red Bull right in front of us too. Danielle, unfortunately for him, has not got a lap time just yet. Neither has Finn Geerts in P17. So, and Mummy Nick, who's on the brink of being knocked out as well, as Fireblaze goes up to P3 in the Ferrari. Danielle in the middle sector with a 44.3, but is that going to be enough to secure his safety into Q2? As we make our way now towards the final 2 corners, we go there to see where the Haasman can go, as Kick goes quickest with a 3.3, but it's all about getting yourself inside the top 15. As here comes Daniel towards the line, goes into P5, and he knocks out Misha, who is on a lap time, as he goes up to P7 in the Kick Sauber. Where is Finn Geerts in 18th place, but on a lap time? He's slowed down, has Finn Geerts, and he'll be knocked out of Q1.
Like, he's on AI mode, so he is not going to be going through into Q2. He's P18 with 110, so he must have had a moment or something on his lap. He backed off, but Finn Geerts, he is out of qualifying in SQ1. That's huge.
It is huge indeed from the Ferrari driver, who is seen to have some amazing pace, but unfortunately has been knocked out then. So there it is, Kick at his home Grand Prix, at the Austria Grand Prix, in first place, looking to replicate that in SQ2 and SQ3. As we see the people being knocked out there, so it's 16th to 18th who has been knocked out. Reiki, Octavia. Interestingly, in the sprint race a few seasons ago, Octavia and Reiki finished in P3 and P4, but they've been knocked out in Q1 here so far. Finn Geerts has been knocked out as well. He will start in last place with a 10.2. But the thing is, though, he has the sprint race to try and capitalise and try and gain as many points as he can and try and start high up, because I think in the sprint race, wherever you finish will determine where you start in the future race, if that's correct, Milan.
Indeed, and it is the case. And actually, if I look at the top of the screen, it says short sprint qualifying. So I'm not sure if we're actually doing an SQ1, 2 and 3. I'm reading in the rulebook right now as well that when there's a sprint race, it's short qualifying. So I think this might actually be the full qualifying results, maybe.
Oops. It said at the top of my screen, it said SQ1, so I thought it was SQ1, SQ2, and SQ3, so my bad, everybody. So Kick is on pole ahead of Wise Brand, Eric in P3 ahead of Lucas, Fireblaze in P5 ahead of Danielle, Misha 7th place ahead of Ghost, Ivan on the midi compound tyres ahead of Heik and Haas, F4 Shores in 11th ahead of Patar Job, Ruben the German in 13th ahead of Mum and Nick, Netherlands in 15th ahead of Reiki, you and Octavia, and Finn Geerts in 17th and 18th then. So Let's see if that happens in the Grand Prix. But look how close it was between Wyatt Brown and Kick. Sometimes the format confuses me because I don't exactly know how many tyre sets people have, etc. Like, does it? Oh, I have no idea really. I'm very confused. How many tyres do you get in the short qualifying, and also the sprint and the feature race? Do you have to save a set across soft bar tyres? I'm not quite sure. But Bram says, "Are you doing tomorrow? Sorry, are you doing tier 2 tomorrow?" What do you mean this league, or I can do it tomorrow because I'm not really doing anything tomorrow. So I'm at work and I finish about 2:30 my time, UK time, which is your time 3:30. So I could potentially do Division 2 if you want me to, because I'm not actually doing anything. So I might give it a go, but we'll see.
And Gertz has left the session. That's not ideal for him. Makes his day even worse. But there we go then. So it was the qualifying. We're now heading into the sprint race. It's a bit overcast, but no rain to be seen. But yeah, we're gonna see how many laps. Not quite sure, but sprint race where you want to make up the most positions to determine your grid position for the main race. Of course, you still get points in this race. First place gets 8 points, and down to 8 it gets 1 point. So points are still earned in the sprint race, but the most importance are, of course, in the main race. So that's gonna be the case. Don't want to take too much risk in this race.
The people that will take the most risks are the people in the midfield and the back, trying to make up as many places as you can. But in the sprint race, the people at the front need to be very careful because you can go from hero to zero immediately. For example, you're on pole or high up there. You don't want to be taking too many risks by setting up the inside. Just try to settle into a rhythm and just prepare for the feature race, because I've seen scenarios before in sprint races where people take a lot of risks. They end up spinning out and starting at the back of the field. So there is no formation lap. We're about to get underway very shortly. And we are underway for the Austrian Grand Prix for the sprint race. A good start from Kick, maintains the lead. Here comes Lucas up the inside, in towards turn 1 we go, between the Aston Martin, who sticks it on the outside. There's a bit of a tap there between the two. Eric has to go off the track as he stays in P3, but Wyatt Brown gets a lovely slipstream, side by side with Kick, as we head up the hill. Bit of wheel banging there between those two. Burt's off the inside line, going towards turn 3. 3 at best in the back, and that's a Kick Sauber, who's trying to go up the inside, and he's trying to make up places from Fireblades and Danielle. Kick is right behind Wyatt Brown as we make our way now towards turn 4. Is he going to try and regain the lead? He downshifts into 6th gear there. Fireblades is now ahead of Lucas. There's a bit of contact between the Sauber and the Williams there, but unscathed. Fireblades has been demoted down into P6. He was the one up the inside in towards turn 3, but lost those places immediately as Finn Hertz has left and retired then, so I don't think he'll take any further part in the feature race. Something must have happened dramatically to him.
Yeah, I think he disconnected them before the race, but Braden starts from Isbrand and a poor start for both the Williams drivers. Both of them went one place backwards, and Kick is under massive pressure from behind as Eric is trying to find a way past. But on this main straight, it's going to be difficult to overtake, especially into turn 1, where going side by side can lead to accidents. So DRS is now, of course, enabled. So we're going to see if Kick is going to try and re-overtake Isbrand, as Ghost already got a 3-second time penalty, and he's going to go up the inside, or is he going to stay behind? Kick is sort of going off the inside, but Isbrand stays ahead.
But Eric has a lovely launch around the outside with the DRS wide open for both of them. Eric around the outside in towards turn 3, has the DRS on the back of Eastbrand as we make our way down towards turn 4. Up the inside goes on Williams. Does he make the corner? He does. Hooks the apex, but he's trying to overtake Fireblades, but Fireblades is still there around the outside. But Lucas, with a lovely launch, is up into P4 ahead of the Ferrari driver, and both Williams now can set about getting their sights on Eric and Weisbrand in first and second place there. But Kick, I think he was trying to be smart about it. Try and keep Kick behind, but he couldn't do so. In fact, the other way around, sorry. Kick was trying to keep Eric behind, but he couldn't do so. Eric had a better launch around the outside and put himself into P2. He didn't want to go for the overtake on Weisbrand, otherwise who'll be the one giving that DRS and under massive pressure later on in this Grand Prix. So Weisbrand then leads ahead of Eric, and Eric's got the DRS wide open then. So let's see if he does go for the move. He does, as he puts himself into the lead of the Grand Prix. And we'll see what happens there then. Weisbrand can settle into P2. Karken Haas and AMS Ghost going wheel to wheel. Here comes a McLeod of Ivan up the inside, but I'm not able to get the throttle quicker than the LP driver, as AMS Ghost just stays in P9 for the time being then. And we can see Weisbrand right behind Eric once again, but not able to make a move. Better race this time from the Aston Martin driver. Eric had a DNF back in Australia, finished 14th at the Miami Grand Prix, but so far looking good for the Aston Martin driver in first place, but there's a long way to go, and plus he's in a DRS train.
Indeed, he's doing a very good job from P3 on the grid. Has turned it into the race lead for so far, but yeah, as you said, it's going to be a massive DRS train, probably all race long and in the main race as well. We've got 3 DRS zones in succession, so if someone got DRS on this straight, they will get on the next straight and possibly the one after, so plenty of overtaking opportunities. So Eric, I don't expect him to drive away, as Eastbrand is still right behind, and he is going to go for the re-overtake on the inside with the help of ERS, a bit of DRS all the way around, and he retakes the lead, and he's back into the lead of the race as there's a car in the background. I think that was F1 Shorts who had a spin in turn 1. He's down to P17.
Heike Haas is putting the pressure on Daniel. He puts himself into P7 with the DRS, but here comes Kick. Here comes Eric back on Weisbrand. He puts himself back into first place. Does the Aston Martin driver swapping DRS range on those two? They're just swapping the DRS every single lap as well. Trading, but we'll see who has the DRS on the last lap of the Grand Prix. So far, they're both, I think, whoever's in second place towards the end of the Grand Prix will be in the best place as well. So, first place is not the best place to be on the last lap because there's 3 DRS zones around here, and we'll see then who is going to be the guinea pig in first place.
Indeed, and Eric at the moment still in the lead. We've got going on to lap 5 of 12. Not many laps in this race. It's a very quick race around such a short track. 1 minute and a few seconds per lap, and Eastbrand is already once again right behind Eric, and I'm not going to be surprised if he's going to try and re-overtake. But look at Kick though, he's right behind the Haas now as well. So we're going to see maybe a double overtake here as Eastbrand once again re-overtakes the Aston Martin, and he is going to retake the lead. And is that Kick up the inside as well into the hairpin? No, it's not quite.
I remember saying Kick was too passive behind both Ferraris at the Australian Grand Prix. This time he's got to force it because he can't afford to be stuck in P3 the whole time watching the top 2-5. Maybe he's playing the long game, just waiting later on. Here comes the... Oh, what's that? It's a Haas off the track there. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. As Kaken Haas puts himself into P5 now, gaining a few places there.
Was Daniele was trying to go around the outside of Misha, but completely outbraked himself, and when trying to avoid the car in front, he had to take the escape route and into the gravel, and that's him all the way down to P16 now.
Unfortunate there, but Daniela had a really good sprint qualifying, but here we are there with the top 4. Bunched up Kick goes off the track, might have picked up Chalamis there, and Lucas in the background waiting as we head down towards turn 1. Then it's all bunched up. We're halfway into this Grand Prix with Weisbrand leading, but Eric has the DRS now, pulls side by side with the Haas. Here comes Kick. Will he go for the overtake or will he stay behind? This time he's got to go for the overtake, surely, as he puts himself into second place in the third corner as we go wheel to wheel. But Weisbrand gets a lovely launch as he has the DRS, and he stays ahead of Kick. Now has the DRS back at Eric as we go down towards turn 4 then. So Kick, like I said, has been a bit too passive there, not really going for any moves. He's just sticking there. Will he just go for a move later on in the Grand Prix? He knows he's got his teammate behind as a rear gunner, so he knows that Lucas won't attack him and try and keep the other guys behind as well. So Kick is playing a long-term game here, but will it be the same mistake as it was in the Australian Grand Prix when he tried to pressurise both Ferraris?
I'm sure we will see him try and fight for positions near the end of the race. Of course, he's in P3 right now in a good position for the win. He doesn't need to wait that long though, so maybe not penultimate lap or the final lap even to try and overtake. But as we see just on the previous lap, the inside line in turn 3 is not quite the line you want to take when trying to overtake. Oh, and Eric! Into the wall on the exit of turn 1. Our race leader has spun, coming out of turn 1 and is all the way down to P10. What a dramatic lap 7 here, and Eastbrand retakes the lead of this race.
And Misha's down the inside of Ivan going up towards turn 3. But there's contact there between those two. Reminiscent, I think, of Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez back in 2016. But here comes Misha now up the inside in towards turn 4. We go still side by side. Is there enough space on the outside? Yes, there is. We've seen plenty of times where people get shoved off the track at turn 4. Russell and Perez, I think, back in 2022, I think it was. And Alex Albon versus Lewis Hamilton in 2020 as well. When Alex Albon lost the potential race victory right there and then in the first race of the 2020 season, because the Austrian Grand Prix was the opening round and Max Verstappen had a mechanical problem and that's why he was part of the equation in the Grand Prix. Only 11 people finished that race as well, with Nicholas Latifi, the last one in 11th place. And here comes then the two Williams pressurising. This is good for both Williams because in terms of constructors, the RP driver of AMS Ghost is down in 12th place. Eric has overtaken Ruben as he puts himself back into 9th place. There is 4 laps left to go in this race. Kick is revving out his gearbox there. Here comes Lucas. I thought he'll go for a move with his own teammate, but here comes the Ferrari up the inside. I think that's Fireblade. He's not going up the inside, he just pulls her out the side. So I thought he was making a lunge, but stays behind for the time being. Ghost is ahead of Reiki Yu, puts himself into P11 with that 3-second time penalty he has. With the grid so tightly bunched up, I think Ghost will be dropping down the order towards maybe the back end of the field, maybe 15th place there, as Mummy Nick and Reiki are swapping places. Octavia's involved as well, and the Sauber of Mummy Nick unfortunately has spun at turn 4, most common place to spin, because you want to get the hammer down as quick as you can to exit the corner, but maybe just wheel spin or make contact there, we'll never know until later on. But there is 4 laps left to go. YS Brand unfortunately is in a predicament because he's got both Williams drivers behind him, and both Williams can use each other as tactics to try and get ahead of the Haasman. Kaiken Haas is right behind as well. Great race with Kaiken, Misha and Ivan so far. Patat Job also did a great job as well, as there's a spinner in the final corner. I think that's Octavia. It is.
Yeah, it is. Red Bull has fun coming out of the final corner, but ideally Isbrand wants to be between the two Williams, and here comes Kick up the inside, and he's going to go for the race lead. There's Lucas going to try and go for the inside as well. The Haas is still around the outside, which has the better exit, and now Isbrand is right in between the two Williams, but he has the DRS and he's going to try and re-overtake Kick there on the second DRS straight. He's got the inside line into turn 4, and I'm sure that's going to be able to get him the race lead back. Now the two Williams almost going side by side on the exit. Is that going to go well? Lucas, bit of a moment, but he slots in behind his teammate again.
How on earth is YS Brand still in first place under massive pressure for both Williams, but actually they fight amongst themselves, did Kick and Lucas, and they're still in P2 and P3, but there's still 3 laps left to go. How is YS Brand going to fight the side? He's in a big predicament here, because if Kick overtakes him, then Lucas will as well, with the power of the DRS. There is nothing that YS Brand can do about it, and we'll see then what happens. How is he going to plan this out, YS Brand, as we make our way out of the final corner? The DRS open once again for both Williams drivers. It's lap 10 out of 12. There is 3 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. This should be in the hands of Williams, but it could go either way. Here we are then on the main straight as we head up towards turn 2 and turn 3, uphill, left-hander coming towards the braking zone now. Here comes Kick. He does not, but locks up the rear tyres, and Lucas is on the outside. In the background, Fireblades, Patat Job, and off the track goes Ivan, and Patat Job's been shuffled down into P10. I saw them go 3 abreast there in the background as well, but it looks like 2 of them made it out unscathed, unfortunately for Patat Job, who got pushed down the order, and so did Ivan as well. I heard contact down there as well between those guys, but YS Brand is still in first place, doing a fantastic job to defend from both Williams drivers. Maybe both Williams are going to plan it out later on because they know they're in the best place so far, in second and third place. So the wise thing to do for those two are to try and overtake him on the last lap and try and just slingshot each other, try and slingshot past the Haasman on the final few laps of this Grand Prix.
Indeed, but at the moment they're more fighting each other on this particular lap, but Kick now once again within the DRS range. 2 laps to go onto the penultimate lap of this race. I'm sure Geitegaard is also right behind, so they have to do something. They can't just sit behind for the entirety of this lap, although Kick has cover from his teammate from behind, but Lucas is coming for Kick as well, so the two Williams are going at it, and here comes Kick up the inside of Isbrand, and he's going to take lead, and Lucas is going to make it 3 wide almost into turn 3, but Kick is going to take the lead. Lucas and Isbrand side by side on the exit, and Isbrand has the better exit. Contact between the two, and Lucas still alongside and is trying to get into the toe of his teammate now into turn 4.
Here we are down towards turn 4 we go. Here comes the Williams up the inside. That's Amos Lucas, but the side by side now, both Williams, and Lucas now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Here comes YS Brand on the outside. The Ferrari Fireblades up the inside of the Aston Martin. There are plenty of scraps in the midfield. Fireblades gets ahead of Eric, but now it's a Williams 1-2. YS Brand has been shuffled into P3. Eric again, I think, has gone for a spin. He has out of turn 8, so major contact there, but they're so close, headed down towards turn 9 and turn 10. You can throw a blanket over them. They're so close indeed as we head on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Is there any chance for YS Brand to re-overtake both Williams then? Here we are with the overspeed as we head down towards turn 1, all backing off, all DRS games going on here as we head down towards turn 1 we go. This is going to be very interesting. Head up towards turn 3 and turn 4. What's going to happen down there? Is going to be any contact? Here comes YS Brand. Here comes Kick on his own teammate as we head down towards turn 3. Both Williams going side by side. When they make contact, Lucas squeezing off the track there. Doctavian gets a 3-second time penalty. Lucas still has a better exit around the outside of his own teammate. Here comes YS Brand. Will he make it a double overtake as we head down towards turn 4? Here comes Kick up the inside of his own teammate as YS Brand remains in P3. Great car placement there from both Williams drivers, still in 1-2. I thought YS Brand would go down the inside of both of them, but was not able to, as it's Williams then has the advantage, and this is crucial for the championship. Great racing between those two, as you can see that every single driver there is sliding now because the mini compound tyres are starting to struggle. But it is the final lap. Here we are then between the two Williams drivers. Did a fantastic job to do the overtakes in the last stages of this Grand Prix. Contact there between the two. But here is Lucas takes the lead and he's won the sprint race ahead of Kick. YS Band finishes in P3 ahead of Heiken Haas in 4th. AMR Misha in 5th ahead of Fireblaze. Patat Job 7th. AMS Eric, who spun at turn 1, finished in 8th place. Ruben P9, Ivan P10, Netherlands in 11th place ahead of Reiki Yu, Mummy Nick 13th, F-Ball Shores, Daniela in 15th, Octavia 16th, and AMS Ghost, who will finish in last place. But what a race that was there.
Indeed, what a brilliant final lap as well. What brilliant teamwork between the two Williams drivers as they secure a 1-2 when Lucas, in the end, he gets gifted the win by Kick, who went over to the line like Barrichello and Schumacher did all those years ago, but Lucas has been given the win by his teammate, but it's a Williams 1-2 in the end. They did manage to do it, 2 against 1, and Isbrand in the end has to settle for P3. And what about Geitikas, by the way, P10 to P4, brilliant race from him as well in the V-Carb. Same for Misha, Fireblaze P6, and Job with some good places gained as well, despite his 3-second time penalty, finished P7. But yeah, great drive by the Williams drivers. They got a 1-2, now they're gonna have to do it again for the main race.
Indeed they are, and it was great. Great attacking as well, great defending as well from YS Band, because I honestly thought that YS Band would go for the move on the inside, but Lucas and Kick used each other as DRS and also Slipstream as well. It was able to keep ahead of the Haasman, but it was great from the Haasman of YS Band though, defending and attacking at the same time, but there's nothing you could do when you've got 2 cars against 1. Heiken Haas unfortunately in P4 not able to capitalise either. But we head on to the main race, the 36-lap feature race, and it should be an interesting one indeed. A great sprint race, and it's qualifying. So we've gone from it is sprint qualifying to the that's confused me so much, with Milan.
Sprint qualifying to a sprint race and now to a short qualifying session of 18 minutes to the main race. Okay, yeah, I didn't expect that. I thought the sprint race results determined the grid, but apparently not. So we're in for just another qualifying session then, apparently.
Welcome back to qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not quite sure about the tyres. How many tyres do they have? You had multiple sets in. I think they had multiple sets in short qualifying. The sprint qualifying, it must be said. And you only use one set of medium compound tyres in the sprint race as well. Nobody on the soft compound tyres in the sprint. It's short qualifying then. We all know what this is. So Jake Malum, you're not familiar with this, but basically short qualifying is 18 minutes and nobody gets knocked out. You're all fight for pole position and it's a fight for first place basically. Whereas long qualifying, Q1 you get eliminated, the top 15 go through, Q2 the top 10 goes through, and Q3 is the top 10 shootout for pole. But in short qualifying, the top 18 or every single driver in that lobby can go for pole and nobody will get that top. But before that, Milan, I will go to the toilet and give it over to you.
Alright then. Here we are, 18 minutes of qualifying. 2 minutes already have been gone, but Octavia, he is the first one out that blow. Like Jamie just said, 18 minutes of qualifying to determine the grid for the main race, so not like the sprint race. That hasn't determined anything, that was just pure racing. But now we are going to determine the grid for the main race. Octavia in the Red Bull is going to be the first one to try and set a lap time. Let's ride on board with him. Well, you can't see on stream, but I am certainly riding on board with the Red Bull driver. 16 minutes remaining, his teammates going out as well. But a lot of drivers still remaining in the pit lane because you do have limited tire sets available to you in a sprint weekend, as Octavia invalidates on turn 1, not ideal for him. But yeah, you don't have as many tire sets available to you, because you already used 1 or 2 in sprint qualifying. You used a medium set in the sprint race, so you're gonna have like 1 or 2 sets of softs in this qualifying session. You're also gonna have a medium set less in the race, so it's gonna be tricky with the tires. So not surprising to see that many drivers are still staying in, and probably you'll see some drivers doing 1, probably 2 runs instead of the usual 3 you do in an 18-minute session to just save the tires. Save those tires for the race. But that job, by the way, was on a good lap, but he spun off on the exit of turn 7 into 8. A bit of a weird spot to lose control, but he went off the curb on the outside and lost control. He was going purple, but he went into the gravel on the exit, and he is gonna, well, not try again. He's got no ERS left in the battery, and Ivan is gonna be the first one to set a lap time in 103.867 in the McLaren. And then if there is someone else on a lap, Eric as well, who had a moment in the sprint race we just seen. He was doing a very good job in the first few laps as he inherited the race lead from P3 on the grid. Has had a difficult season so far already, and the sprint race, unfortunately for him, was no different, as he had a spin coming out of turn 1, which dropped him all the way down to P10. But it's a restart now for him. He can now try again, and let's see if he can pull off a miracle again, get it inside the top 6 in qualifying, like he did in the sprint session. He just had a 109.6, so probably another out lap. Ruben 104. Still loads of drivers in pit lane, like I said, just to save the tires. And Toxavia finally does get a lap time on the board with a 104.2.
Hakan Haas is on his lap, going purple in the middle sector in the RB. He's got some great pace, but has been unlucky at times as well in this league and other leagues as well. I've commentated over him. Here he is towards the final 2 corners in turn 9 and turn 10. Danny Kvyat crashed here back in 2017 when he had that massive impact. And here comes the RB driver with the DRS open. He goes up into P2 with a 3.9, just a tenth shy of what Ivan managed to do. But like you said, a lot of people in the pit lane just waiting on, so not even doing a banker lap, because sometimes a cycle lap is really good as you have a reference point as well to see what you can do on your next lap, and that's really useful and beneficial as well, because it has a massive mental effect as well when you drive it. As F1 Shorts takes the MotoGP line through turn 2 and turn 3. So by the way, for those people wondering why that chicane is introduced, that's because in MotoGP there was a massive crash in 2020 where 2 riders collided up the top of the hill at high speed. I think it was Franco Morbidelli, and Johan Zarco who crashed in turn 2 and turn 3, and the pikes kept barrel rolled and almost took out 2 more riders, of Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales. And luckily for both Maverick and Valentino, they escaped free, and they managed to get out unscathed. But yeah, every person in that crash involved was all right, but it could have been nasty indeed. So that's why the chicane is there for safety. In my opinion, I don't really like the chicane. I think it should be as it was, because there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just that one little incident they had. We've not really had many problems in the past before in MotoGP, but sometimes it's the way it is, and we're going to adapt to it now.
Indeed, not very familiar with MotoGP. I haven't watched it a lot, but like I said, if just one incident, it happens. It happens in any sport. In the meantime, I do want to point out though that Finn Geerts and a few others are on the mediums, and I'm not sure where they got these medium sets of tires from. Because I've seen drivers putting on mediums in sprint qualifying. They used to set in the sprint race. Now they're on another medium set. Are they even going to have any mediums left for the main race?
Yeah, it's a good point as well. I'm not quite sure how many medium compound tyres you can take towards the race as well. So we'll see then how it all unfolds. So it's really, really interesting sprint qualifying. As Finn Geerts hits the wall going into the pit lane there, and that could have been his qualifying done and dusted already then as he makes his way back in the pit lane. And we've got an Alfa Romeo, or Sauber, sorry, of AMR Misha on a lap time, but unfortunately he has invalidated, so I think he'll be headed back in the pit lane. But yeah, even though there's 7 minutes in this qualifying session gone, not a lot of people have gone out there to do a flying lap. Daniela is gone for a flying lap in the Haas then, as he makes his way down towards turn 1 there, taking the apex very nicely, using the outside curve to lean on as the DRS wide open, heading up towards turn 2 now. This flat out turn 2 corner, it's all about turn 3, thinking about where you're going to brake before the 100 metre board as we make our way down towards turn 3, nipping a bit of apex there in towards turn 3. Get back on the loud pedal as soon as you can with the DRS wide open, use a bit of overtake as well on this straight, heading down towards the downhill braking zone towards turn 4, hits the apex but he just misses it ever so slightly there as he leans on the curb on the outside. Not a lot of people use that curb on the outside. As we make our way towards turn 6 then, you're going to be very careful the way you approach this one, because if you take too much curve on the inside, same for this one as well, at turn 7 you'll end up spinning the car and into the gravel line as Verstappen was as well. So you can be very careful how much curbs you use on this track. As we head down towards turn 9 and turn 10, look at that, just barely lifting the throttle there as he had a massive lift off going towards the final corner. The DRS open for Daniela as he goes quickest with a 3.7, and that's a decent lap time there, chucking the car in at high speed, and it seems to be sticking underneath that Haas car as well, and we'll see if that lap time then sticks with him. Is he going to try and claim pole?
A good lap time then for the Haas, but let's take a look now at Kick as well. He is on the lap now. Of course, well, he almost won the sprint race, but he gave his the win to his teammate. But now he is on the lap again. He was quick in sprint qualifying. Is he going to be able to do it again to the middle part of the lap? It shows a purple second sector. Not quite sure if that's the case. We're about to find out in a few moments' time. With only 2 corners remain, 2 very tricky corners with the track limits on the outside. As he throws the car in, sticks it within the white lines, and on the exit into the final corner as well. Seems to be a very good final sector. Is Kick going to be able to beat that 103.7? And he is a 103.525, and he's on provisional pole now by 0.2 of a second until IMS Eastbrand goes even faster with a 103.4.
Wow, what a great lap time there from Eastbrand, and he's a 10th quicker, or just under a 10th quicker than Kick as well. So both Hasses have amazing pace. We saw that back at the qualifying session until Daniela unfortunately got put in the gravel at turn 4. But it's another chance to reset. You've got a second opportunity in this Grand Prix to see what you can do, and let's see then if he takes the opportunity by the hands and try and reclaim something here in the mountains of Austria. Mummy Nick in P10 has just crossed the Lions Cups inside the top 10 with a 4.1 there. Amos Lucas is on his out lap, and Fireblaze, interestingly, is still in the pit lane then, so not going out there just yet as he's leaving it quite late, so not even putting a reference lap on there is Fireblaze as well. We'll see what the Dutchman could do in 18th place there, but so far it's Eastbrand on pole ahead of Amos Kick, and I know Milan, I've said that name wrong plenty of times, but I have been listening to you, so don't worry.
I was just watching on board with Eric, by the way, and he was going into the final corner, and he just completely lost the car. It was a good lap, but he lost control into the penultimate corner, went off, and unfortunately couldn't improve. So Eric is not having a great day. He was doing good in the sprint race for a few laps, but then his faith went away, like it went away in the previous 2 races. You see P14 right now, as Kick has left the session. That's not good to see. Let's hope he gets back in time for the race. 7 minutes remain, so still plenty of time, but let's hope he gets back, as his teammate is now on the lap as well.
Yeah, Lucas, who won the Australian Grand Prix ahead of Kick. Here we are then. It was a Williams 1-2 in Australia. It was a Alpine 1-2. Oh, there's a Mercedes in the way. Come on, Mercedes, get out of the way. And he has done just now, so I'm not quite sure if that's affected Lucas or not. But like I said, Australian Grand Prix, it was a Williams 1-2. Miami Grand Prix, it was an Alpine 1-2. How about here in Austria, a Haas 1-2? I'm not quite sure, but we'll see then if that happens. But so far, Haas is a 1 and 3, and Lucas is aiming to join that party. Here we are towards turn 6 and turn 7. Lucas was the one that won the Australian Grand Prix. Fantastic job from him as he makes his way now towards turn 6 and turn 7. Silo picked up a 3-second penalty as he won the Grand Prix, but unfortunately got demoted down as AMS Ghost goes up into P3 as Kick is joined back there as Lucas is now making his way towards these final 2 speed corners as he goes off and unfortunately has invalidated the lap time. It would have been P2, I believe, with a 3.4 or 1.
P1, a 103.462, but unfortunately invalidated in the final corner. So it would have been provisional pole position. The pace is there, but you just have to keep it within the white lines. As Finn Geers goes to P3 in the Ferrari, so the Ferraris are finally coming alive in this qualifying session. And Misha as well in the Sauber goes up to P4. lap from him indeed. And now it leaves just Fireblaze and Lucas to set a lap time. Fireblaze is on a lap time as well as he goes into the penultimate corner, throws the car in, just a little bit too much curve though as he slides a bit mid corner, but now on the exit of the final corner, is he going to be able to get it along with his teammate? He does, right behind him. We're on 3.650 onto the second row.
Nice one there for Fireblaze, so Ferrari 3 and 4, and let's see then if that stays that way. Fireblaze needs some decent results because after Abu Dhabi, when he had that 3-second absence, even in Baku as well, last season when he had that rotten run of form, Fireblaze is a very quick driver, but things hasn't gone his way so far in terms of the strategy or the safety cars coming out as well, or just struggling in terms of general pace. But I know in Austria he has been quick in another league, and it's a league I commentate as well. Had full mid damage at the start, had to sustain it for the whole first stint. Then he almost won the Grand Prix, but unfortunately in the final corner, somebody spun out and he had to avoid them. The guy ahead of him had a 3-second penalty, otherwise Fireblaze would have won if it wasn't for the moment, because he got out-dragged by the line by somebody else. Daniela is on a lap time in the Haas, was P3 but now P7, so let's see then, can he improve as he makes his way now towards the final two corners. Oh, goes wide and lost the car as he has to head back in the pit lane, taking a odd line going in towards the pit lane, but it still works and his lap time has been ruined. So every single driver Milan is in the pit lane and waiting for their final run. So far it's East Brand on pole ahead of AMS Kick, Finn Hertz in P3, Fireblaze P4, Misha once again doing a good job there in P5, AMS Ghost in Alpine got big shoes to fill after it was Zach, and it was Zach. I forgot his name already. Come on, yeah. Sorry about that. I was about to. It was Zach and Matthias. There we go, Matthias. It was Zach and Matthias scoring the big results back in Miami, but Zach on his own this time because he doesn't have a teammate, so he's got a lot of points to try and score tonight.
Indeed, 3-4 minutes remain. The pressure is on, especially for AMS Lucas. He's the only one who hasn't set a lap time, even though Job hasn't really set a representative lap time either. But Lucas, he's only going to have one run. It's going to be very important. Williams is in the fight. He knows he's quick, but he has to keep it within the white lines. If we see the first cars already going out for what will probably be their final runs. AMS Ivan, the first one to go out in the McLaren, and behind him is the current pole sitter, AMS Eastbrand. He's also going out, so quite early to go out, but plenty of time to improve. Can Eastbrand improve? It's the current lap time. It is very strong though, 103.4, but we have seen that Lucas was also able to set a 103.4, so he knows he has to try everything to go even faster.
Massive pressure for Lucas, as he probably only have one lap time. Depends how late he'll go out there, because if he doesn't validate his first lap, if he's got the time to do a second lap, he'll go for it with the fuel load as well. But if he leaves it to the very last minute, that means he only has one lap, and it'll be a make or break lap as well, because either they could put him up with the order or stay in last place there. So that lap time has to count. Here comes Ivan making his way towards the final two corners as the McLaren driver is about to start a flying lap there. So let's see what he can do. But I think he's going for a second preparation lap. Yes, he is.
So choosing to not go immediately for a lap and warm up his tires for another lap. That's probably why he went out so early, so he could have that opportunity to warm up his tires for another lap. Eastbrand behind him, I think, has just started a lap though, so let's see what he can do in a Haas. Currently in pole position, but he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him right now. Let's hope they get out of the way in time. There is that's his team at the Haas, but he's not improving. He's 1/10 down, so he's backed off. Eastbrand has backed off, and he can try again after this lap.
I didn't see any obvious mistakes headed out towards turn 1, but 1/10 off is quite a lot, so he could have to back off, unfortunately, and try and go for again. AMS Kick has retired in the pit lane there, so not coming out to play in the final minutes of qualifying then, so he'll be looking over his shoulder to see if he'll get demoted or not. But his main competitors are out there on the circuit, and we'll see who could take pole. Every single driver then coming out on the circuit, including AMS Lucas, who's under massive pressure because he's only got one lap to perform, and if he doesn't, he'll start down in 18th place. AMS Eric is more surprisingly in the Aston Martin. Here he is towards the final corner in 5th gear, kind of a lot of speed as he makes his way towards the line. Eric on pole! It's a 3.3, and he pulls it out of the bag at the very last minute then. So let's see, can he remain there? But fantastic last time from Eric. I was a bit concerned about him as Ivan and somebody else as middle deal. I think it was Patat Yob up into P9 with a 3.7, and that's a good lap time there considering where he was in P16. So AMS Lucas now in 18th place on a flying lap, but he's going for a second preparation lap. He's moving left and right, so this will definitely be the last lap for him next time he crosses the line, as he has a massive lockup going towards turn 3. Lucas has left it very late. He's under massive pressure. The question is, though, when you're under massive pressure, can you perform? Will you start to bottle up with the pressure? Because I know a lot of people like me, when you have a lot of work to do, the pressure piles on you and you make a lot of mistakes. And if you're calm and collective and cool, and you can set those lap times, it's very good to have those skills. But we'll see then if Lucas has those skills or not to try and put himself amongst the rest of the field. Trying to look for somebody on a lap time. Fireblazes, Finn Hertz he's going up towards turn number 6 right now. Coming towards the left hand, there we go. Let's see what his intermediate split is like. It's a 43 as Daniela goes on pole. It's a 3.2. Fantastic lap time there from Daniela. It's a Haas 1.3 as well, so this is good for Haas. But Finn Hertz is making his way towards the final 2 corners. We go flying through 5th gear, exiting the final corner. Heiken Haas up into P5. But here comes Finn Hertz. He stays or goes up into P3 as he puts YS Brand down into P4. Fireblaze out there too in the Ferrari, but Fireblaze unfortunately is not improving. Where is AMS Lucas? AMS Lucas is at turn 3. Keep an eye on him. Fireblaze is heading towards the final corner as he exits there using all the curb on the outside. Let's see where the Ferrari driver could go. He stays in P9. Doesn't even improve. Does Fireblaze. And AMS Lucas, here he is then. 1 lap before. He can't afford any sort of mistake. Not a validation, not a slight spin or moment. Here he is, 2.2 as you expect. In the middle sector, downshift into 5th gear there from 6th as he got bogged down a bit there. As we make our way now towards the final 2 corners we go. Turn down and turn 10, make or break corners, chuck the car in, carry a lot of speed, making sure you don't go beyond those white lines. Here's the Williams with the DRS wide open. Let's see where he is. It's P5, and that's a big crash. That's a big crash, but luckily it's the end of the session, so no penalty will be involved as all the guys are AI.
Indeed, with P5 in the end, he performs under pressure. He's right in front of his teammate. The Williams, though, are on the back foot on the 3rd row of the grid, and it's actually Daniele in the end. Surprisingly enough, takes pole position with a brilliant lap time, 103.2, and Eric is there as well. And Finn Geurts, Eastbrand couldn't improve on his final lap. He went back into the pit lane, so he had to take P4 in the end and kick neither. He is in P6. With 1 lap from Daniele in the Haas. I thought for one moment this is going to be the other Haas on pole position, but Daniele with a brilliant lap to put it on pole position. And let's see if he can now work together with his teammate. Maybe our Haas now are in the advantage to go for the 1-2.
Indeed, they are. Then some people have got to think something to prove, especially after the sprint races. For AMS Eric, who spun out at turn 1, and Daniela, who's made contact with somebody at turn 4, had to go off the circuit completely and rejoin at the back of the field. But it's redemption for Daniela so far in 1st place, as Eric is in P2, Finn Hertz in 3rd ahead of YS Band, Lucas in P5 ahead of Kick, into Williams 3-4, Heiken Haas up into P7 ahead of Misha, Ruben P9 ahead of Fireblaze, Ghost in 11th place ahead of Yop, Ivan 13th, F4 Shorts 40th, Octavia 15th, Woman Nick 16th, Reiki U 17th, Netherlands in last place unfortunately. And we move on to the 36th lap feature race, and this should be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of DRS trains around here as well, a lot of teamwork, a lot of tactical play, especially with people that's got their teammates in close proximity of each other. And also, it's a sunny race to top it all off, so I can't wait to see what happens here at the Austrian Grand Prix. The Styrian Mountains, of course, it was the first race of the season back in 2020 because of COVID, and I think Valtteri Bottas was the one that won the Grand Prix. Then a week later, they returned it back, and it was wet weather conditions a week later, as Lewis Hamilton showed some excellent skills going pole by over a second. Max Verstappen, unfortunately for him, spun at the final corner as well. We have seen some plenty of great racing here in Austria before in its past history as well, especially last season between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. I know a lot of you are Dutch in here, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But hopefully you guys, I'm not going to say anything about that. You guys have your own opinion, of course. But Verstappen and Lando Norris crashed at the top of turn 3, same way like Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton did. And it was George Russell, the one that won the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri could have won the Grand Prix, but unfortunately had track limits in qualifying, took away from him, and he was so close towards Russell towards the end as well. But we'll see then what happens going up towards this race, this build-up.
Indeed, we got 36 laps ahead of us, so triple the amount of laps as we've seen in the sprint race. Probably going to see similar conditions though with the DRS trains, as here we go already.
Here are the lights then on the panels. Look but never stare. Underway. Look at Daniela. Gets a terrible start as the Ferrari goes past. Eric goes past. And they all go past his lead. He's been shuffled into P5. Makes contact with the back of his teammates. A poor, horrendous start there from Daniela, unfortunately, as he's in P5. So he's lost 4 places at the start of the Grand Prix. Eric takes the lead ahead of Finn Hertz. Lucas is right behind as we head down towards turn 3. Then let's see any moves. Here comes the Haasman up the inside of his own teammate. Bert has to stay behind in the back. That's the Kick Sauber versus Ruben versus Kick himself in P9. Kick has lost a few places. There's a horrendous start for the Williams driver as we head down towards turn 4. Here comes Misha up the inside in towards turn 4 we go. Side by side now between the Red Bull and the Sauber driver as we continue this battle towards turn 6 and turn 7. You can go side by side, but we've seen a few people get pushed off the track. Massive understeer as well. Heavy fuel load and colder tyres as Misha has to unfortunately lose that battle and he's down into P8. But Kick, unfortunately for him, lost a few places. He's down 3 places. And so is Daniela for 4th.
Yeah, Daniel with a very poor launch off the start. Only lost 4 places going into turn 1, and Kick was going 3 wide on the exit of turn 1, and he was on the outside where there was no space. And by the way, Eric is leading the race. He's on the hards, so he's got an excellent start, and everyone else behind him has got the tire advantage. So as long as he stays in P1, he will be very good. Going to have very good cards in this race, but he's going to be under pressure, of course. The DRS has already been enabled, and Finn Geerts is lurking to try and get past as Lucas into the back of the Ferrari, but Ferrari of Finn Geerts has got the DRS, he's got the ERS, and he's going to go for a race lead on lap 2, and Finn Geerts is going to take the lead away from Eric, and that's Eastbrand up the inside of Lucas as well as they go wheel to wheel coming out of turn 4.
Wiesband trying to get ahead of Lucas, but Lucas is fighting back. He has the inside line going towards turn 6, but Wiesband just stays ahead for the time being. And I think Fireblaze as well got past Kick, so Kick has been demoted down into P10. What a horrible start there for Kick. Had a great sprint race, but unfortunately in the feature race he's going backwards. I'm not quite sure what's happened to his pace, but and what happened to him at the start of the Grand Prix as well, because he was so focused on the Haasman of Daniela, who got pushed into P5, goes off the track in the final corner. And here comes AMS Kick back on Finn Geerts, but he stays behind for the time being because he wants DRS for the next straight as we head down towards turn 1. It's going to be a high-speed game of cat and mouse, a high-speed game of chess between all these drivers. Kraken Haas is up to P5 on the hard compound tyres. Here comes Kick, here comes Eric, and here comes the Haasman up the inside. In towards turn 3 we go. As you can see, that's Finn Geerts under massive pressure, having no DRS on the back of anybody, but this time he has DRS at the exit of turn 3 as he goes wheel to wheel in towards turn 4 as he retakes the lead of the Grand Prix once again. So this is what we'll see from the whole race. People swapping places with the DRS. A big DRS trade around here. And Eric, as long as he can stay with the medium runners, it's all good for him because he knows he's going for a long first stint on these hard compound tyres before he goes over to the medium compound tyres, because these guys, the mediums, are not able to pull away. It's so difficult to pick up a DRS trade around here with the 3 DRS zones provided to you.
Indeed, so Finn is desperately trying to save his battery as he went fully off throttle, and Eric almost went to the back of him, and he's now going to try, not going to try and go past here. They are driving very slowly to create this DRS train. We're currently going to see this the whole race long, and once again Eric is going to have a go on the hard. He's going to go on the outside with the help of DRS. It's no match to him. Here comes Isbrand. Is he going to try and get both of them up the inside of Eric as well into turn 3? And Isbrand, is he going to take the lead? No, Eric is going to have the better exit round the outside. Wheel to wheel stuff with Lucas and Daniele as well. It's all kicking off here on lap 4. Here comes Finn Geerts in the middle of Eric and Isbrand, and Finn Geerts almost 3 wide in the background as well.
Cars absolutely everywhere with 3 abreast in towards turn 4 we go. Lucas is into P4 as Daniela. Oh my goodness me, there's cars absolutely everywhere. A lot of action going on. Finn Geerts, who went through 2 cars there on the straight, made it stick as well, could have easily ended up in the wall doing something like that, but he stays in P1 for the time being. And here comes, look at this, side by side in the final 2 corners. Eric takes the lead with Lucas up the inside of Eastbrand as we head down towards the final corner. As you can see, Lucas picks up a 3-second time penalty. There's contact there. There's a Red Bull who's spun. He's in the Ferrari in the wall together, and that's big contact there between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. That's Fireblaze who got caught up with the contact there as he lost it in the final corner and went for a spin, unfortunately. And now with the DRS wide open once again, here comes Finn on the back of Eric, but this time chooses to stay behind because he knows he's not under pressure from the guy behind as well, so he doesn't need to make the move, of course, as we head down towards turn 3 to exit in the corner with the DRS wide open. Finn Hertz is looking at the guy behind to see if he make a move or not. If he doesn't, he'll stay behind Eric. If he's trying to go for a move, he'll try and overtake him for first place. But wow, drama already in this Grand Prix.
They're not taking it easy at all. They're driving like lunatics here on the opening stages of this race. Cars absolutely everywhere, absolute carnage in the background as well. And the Firebase, unfortunately for him, getting caught up in that. He's now got front wing damage as well to deal with. And same for Ruben, who was the Red Bull he collided with. But Eric, after all of that, on the hards, is still in the lead of this race. He's pulled a bit of a gap actually to Finn Gertz, probably trying to save some ERS, knowing that he has 3 DRS straights to close that gap again. In the meantime, Lucas with a 3-second penalty as well, as Daniela is lost a lot of position. What has happened there?
I am not sure, to be honest with you. He was a Haas who got caught up in the final corner. In the final corner on the last lap, he was also one of those drivers who was caught up in the melee when the Red Bull spun around at turn number 10. The final corner, as the Haas there hits the back of the Williams, just continuing up in towards turn 3. Plenty of times we've seen that before, but here comes Heiken Haas on the hardcore power tyres, gets shown the grass, and Wiesbrand stays in P4. And here comes Finn up the inside, locks up as Eric does the switchback, puts himself back into first place there, as also Finn gets a terrible exit as Lucas there looking to capitalise, but he can't find a way through for the time being there. So Finn Hertz tried to nudge up the inside, but he couldn't quite do it, locked up, and gave Eric back the lead.
They're fighting hard around here in these opening stages. Finn Gertz with a big moment coming out of turn 8, and he's now under pressure from Lucas, but you don't want to go side by side into this turn. We've seen that a couple of laps ago that it does not go well, going wheel to wheel through turns 9 and 10. But Finn Gertz running a bit wide as well on the exit. It's all kicking off in these early stages of the race. It is a promising sight for what is to come. In these 36 laps, we've still got 30 laps to go, and they're fighting like it's the last lap. And Finn Gertz once again now within the DRS range, and is probably going to try and go for it, as Daniela has an absolute mare. He's got another 3-second time penalty. Here comes Finn Gertz up the inside of Eric, and he is going to retake the lead of this race, or is he? Because Eric on the outside line once again has the better traction, and he also has got the DRS, which Finn Gertz hasn't. So Eric is once again going to retake the lead of this race on lap 7.
We're headed out towards turn 4 there with Lucas on the defensive because he's got I struggle to say that name, you know. I don't know why. It's an easy name, but here comes Heiken Haas up the inside, around the outside, sorry, in towards turn 6 we go. He can't make his stick because Wiesbrand has got the how do you say that name, by the way, Milan, before I lose my mind?
I just say Eastbrand, so
Eastbrand.
Just go with that. Here got Lucas, by the way, past Finn Gertz.
It's quite unusual, but Finn Gertz has turned his ERS into none. You can see that all these guys who use the battery to try and overtake each other now in defensive mode and put it into none as well. Hence why they're losing a lot of time, because they're deviating down those little straights as we head down towards turn 1 then with all these guys just bunching up there in the first corner as Finn goes off the circuit there, and here comes Heiken Haas looking to try and take advantage on Wiesbrand, and here comes the Haas now side by side in towards turn 2 and turn 3 we go. Yes, the inside line going towards turn 3. Can he make the ball? Yes, he can. He goes up into third place into turn 3. Here comes Lucas now side by side, and he also got 3-second penalty, has Lucas as well, so that'll be detrimental later on in the Grand Prix if other people don't pick up that 3-second penalty. Track limits is brutal around here. If you're the most consistent, you'll end up having big rewards as well. It's a big DRS train from first all the way down to 12th place with F1 Shorts on the back of it. Daniela, we saw, who spun in the final corner. So did Ruben as well, who spun in the final corner. Fireblaze picking up front wing damage. It's a shame for Fireblaze because he got so much potential, promising pace, but something just goes wrong for him. Whether people get caught up in melee or not, I'm not quite sure. But unfortunately for Fireblaze, he just got caught up in a bit of drama in the final corner a few laps to go and had to come in for a front wing change. And now running in last place in 18th as we watch the leaders fight away again. This is so intense between all these guys here, but this is good for Eric and Heiken Haas in the DRS range on the hardcore power tyres. Here comes Eric now overtaken Lucas, puts himself into first place ahead of the Williams driver, but the Williams locks up there, almost hits the back of the Aston Martin, just taps him slightly as Job is right behind Ghoster, looking to try to do a space back at him as we exit turn 3. And now Lucas uses a bit of overtake there to try and stay ahead of Eastbrand, and Lucas as well using the ERS wisely in defensive mode to keep ahead of one driver to make sure he has the ERS on the back of Eric.
Indeed, and as you just said, it's just good news for Eric and Gaitikas. They're on the hards and they're still staying with this leading group. In fact, Eric is the leading car of this group. They're on the hards and they're going to have the tire advantage at the end of the race. But you have to keep in mind though that the ones on the mediums are going to be able to pit earlier and they are going to be in a DRS train. And when the car's going longer, staying out longer, when they pit, they won't be in a DRS train. So then it will be difficult to catch back up, but I'm sure these guys will continue fighting it out. So it's a bit of a predicament, but for now, Eric and Gaitikas, they are doing a very good job to stay with these guys here at the front. So they don't seem to be any slower at all than the medium runners, but Eric's still in the lead of this race. Lucas is now just going to try and stay behind for a lap as we see Gaitikas with Finn Geerts. Oh, Gaitikas in the back there of the Haas as Finn sends it up the inside. Lucas at the moment as well, he's just ghosted and Eastbrand goes literally through the Williams up with the P2 and they're going side by side going into turn 4. Eastbrand on the outside, Lucas on the inside, and they're still going wheel to wheel on the exit. Now the next turn is going to be a very tricky corner to go wheel to wheel through the next two. In fact, Lucas on the outside still trying to hang it round the outside. There's a brilliant battle between the Haas and the Williams. Eastbrand on the inside, Lucas on the outside behind her, going wheel to wheel as well. And in the end, Eastbrand finally does get the position and stays in front of the Williams. And what racing we are seeing here on lap 10 of this race.
Yeah, Finn Geerts made a mistake at turn 6. He just went wild by himself, just plain understeered off, unfortunately, and Haas took advantage. He puts himself now into P4. Haas and Eric are looking really good as well in P1 and P4. The hard compound tyres looking to take that stint a long way as well. The medium compound tyres usually drop away at this stage. We'll see the peak performance of those medium compound tyres start to fade away. So expect these people, the hard compound tyres, to try and make their way forwards as well, because Haas put Finn under massive pressure going towards turn 3, and Lucas as well. As we exit the corner, their DRS wide open, and we'll see what happens going down towards turn 4. Can Haas make a move on Lucas? No, he's a bit too far back to do so, as he's much later to the brakes though, going down towards turn 4. His teammate Pachal Job is going around the outside. Mummy Nick has spun the exit of turn 3. Mummy Nick, a dreadful season for him. He's had many troubles so far in the first 3 races this season, not able to find any form or whatsoever. But yeah, he rejoins on the P16 with Fireblaze and Reiki U as well, following him too. Hoping for a safety car. Usually there's a high chance for a safety car around here as well, but so far looking good. Hopefully I don't jinx that, but for those 3 people's sake, they would be hoping for a safety car to try to bring them back into this Grand Prix. Lap 12 out of 36 then. It's Eric who leads on the hard compound tyres. The man has spun out of turn 1 in the sprint, but hopefully doesn't do it in the feature race. Looking very good so far is Eric, because Aston Martin need these points, and so does Eric as well. Here comes Weissbrand on the back of him, but as we head down towards turn 3, does not go for the move just yet. Here comes Haas, tries to go on the outside, in towards turn 3, go side by side with the DRS wide open. Looks like Haas gets a better exit than level pegging now as we head down towards turn 4. Weissbrand takes the lead back off Eric as we head down towards the heavy braking zone. It is Haas who's up into P3 on the podium, and he's looking to charge forwards, try to take Eric on as well. So both half runners are looking very strong so far in this Grand Prix. The tyre life, well, the pendulum has swung their way now, as the hard compound tyres is a better tyre than the medium compound tyres, and it'll be faster towards the stage as well. As AMS Ghost is right behind Misha, but not going to go for the move, especially in the final 2 corners there, even though he's a lot quicker. There's contact! He's in the wall! He's in the pit lane. Was that purposeful or not? Was Misha supposed to go to the pit lane? Bert's kick has just smashed into the back of the Sauber there, and he's getting himself a bit of damage. But I'm not quite sure if Misha meant to go to the pit lane or he was forced to by that contact.
I didn't quite see what happened, but what the hell happened there between Kick and Misha as into the pit lane? It seems like a bit of almost like a brake test, and Kick is not able to replace his front wing, so he's probably going to have to pit again. And Misha went into the wall as well, and he has somehow not sustained any damage. As to the front end, Eric and Eastbrand once again swapping positions, but the hard runners are looking very strong indeed. Geitengaas going through around the outside of Eastbrand, not making it very difficult at all. And Geitengaas up at the P2, it's a 1-2 now for the hard runners on lap 13.
Yeah, looking very good so far from Geitengaas and Eric as well. Looking on course, trying to get their first podium and potential win of the season. Geitengaas has had a mid-season so far. He's not really shown much in his debut here in... Yes, he's not shown much so far in SDM. But his best result came at the Australian Grand Prix when he finished in P7. But here, of course, for a potential podium, both RB and Aston Martin looking very strong so far in first and second. We know they're going to go for a long stint in those hard compound tyres. And here he is then for the lead of the Grand Prix as he puts himself now ahead of Eric.
Geitengaas into the lead of this race. He's doing a very good job from 7th place on the grid. Has turned it into the race lead, but slowly but surely the medium runners are starting to pull into the pit lane. Lucas has just done so as well. As Kiki gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to be well, tough pill to swallow. He's got the front wing damage as well. This race is slowly falling apart. He had a great sprint race, but in the main race it's just not quite going his way. Nor is it for Williams actually, but Lucas is still in the fight. He's on the mediums, on the hards. He is in the clean air, but he doesn't have the assistance of the DRS that the cars in front do. So that is going to be difficult to try and catch up. And Eastbrand, Finn Geerts and Ruben, the 3 drivers still out there on the mediums. It's going to be a matter of time before we see them beating up to the pit lane. Here comes Finn Geerts on lap 14. He pulls into the pit lane from the mediums. Eastbrand continues on the mediums. Yeah, interesting strategy.
Yeah, so he's extending the first stint. Is Weissband just keeping up with the top 2. Eric goes off the track at the exit of turn 1 there, so that might be a challenging one here. Here he is then with the overtake, the battery and the DRS side by side. He puts himself into first place, just blast past the RB driver. As let's keep an eye on Lucas. Where does he rejoin? He rejoins at the Hertz. There he is out of the pit lane then. So Lucas has got a big jump on the Ferrari driver by staying out there 1 lap later. Has cost him hugely as well. Has the Ferrari as we go back towards the battle for first place with Eric, Geitengaas and Weissband so far in this Grand Prix, as I think Finn Geerts has been caught up by Misha as well. So Misha is right at the back of Finn Geerts as well. Kick is right there as well. Despite a broken front wing, you can see that the front right end plate is missing on that Williams. And here comes Misha now as he puts himself into P8. Not good news for Finn Geerts. Oh, he almost got squeezed off the track there, but luckily backed out of it. Amos Lucas has overtaken Ruben. All side by side and almost contact as Ruben's almost to the spin on the medium compound tyres. Those mediums start to fade away now. You can clearly see the difference in grip levels there as Lucas is flying away from the Red Bull driver. But when is Weissband going to pit? How long is he going to extend this medium compound tyres for as Patat Yob unfortunately picks himself up a 3-second penalty?
Probably as long as possible if you can try and stay with the cars in front as penalties start to slowly come into play. Ivan with a 3-second penalty as well, but Eastbrand is staying out as Misha sets the fastest lap of the race on the hard. Geitengaas with a bit of a moment coming out of turn 3, but as long as Eastbrand is still staying with them, he is just going to extend his stint, and he will have the fresher tires come the end of the race, and hopefully stay with these cars in front to try and catch up to the cars, and hopefully have an advantage near the very, very end of the race when his hard tires are better than even the medium. So maybe that is the strategy that Eastbrand is going for. At the moment he's still staying out on the mediums. It's lap 16. We've got 20 laps to go. Is the Haas going to pull in at the end of this lap? It looks like he is, as he's pulling to the inside of the track, and he is. So Eastbrand into the pit lane then. He's the last one to go in, apart from Ruben, who had front wing damage in the Red Bull. But Eastbrand into the pit lane, and where is he going to come out compared to Lucas and Finn Geerts with this overcut?
Yeah, I think that Lucas and Finn Geerts will get the jump on Weissband, but he'll have the tyre advantage towards the end there. We're almost halfway in this Grand Prix. Geitengaas is ahead of Eric. He puts himself into P1 ahead of the Aston Martin driver then. These two continue to extend on the hard compound tyres there as we watch the Haasman come out of the pit lane. We'll see where he will rejoin. He rejoins behind the Ferrari driver as expected, side by side with Misha, who is now alongside him. But we'll see then. He used a bit more overtake on the Sauber. The Sauber does have the DRS, but not able to get past him still as they level peg going down towards turn 3, side by side between the two. But can Weissband stay ahead of the Sauber? He can, and that's crucial for him as well, not to get held up on a brand new set of hard compound tyres. Will he have the pace later on in this Grand Prix to try and catch back up? He's gave up the time, but he has the tyre deficit towards the end of the Grand Prix. Will that make a difference or not? I'm not quite sure.
We will see later on, but I'm sure it will make a little bit of a difference. At the moment, it's important to stay within the DRS range of Finn Geerts. He's done a good job to get past Misha immediately, despite having to call the tires. He's just dropped outside of the DRS now, though, of Finn Geerts. That is bad news for Isbrand, as that was going to be crucial for him to get the Ferrari to drag him along in these early stages of this hard tire, where the tires just takes a bit of time to warm up, as F1 starts with a fast lap of the race. But I think Isbrand has now got within the DRS range of the Ferrari, and he has, so that's good news for him. As Finn Geerts is also desperately trying to get back into the range of Lucas, who is 1.8 seconds ahead. But at the front, it's still very calm between Geitenkaas and Eric, as they're still continuing on these hards, and I think they will for at least a couple more laps. Around lap 22, 23 maybe we'll see coming into the pit lane for the mediums.
And Isbrand is right behind Finn Geerts, then they'll see how difficult it is. How is Ferrari going to defend this one against the Haas, who is flying out there on the hardcore power tyres? And like you said, Haas and Eric, the top three, being very quiet at the front of the field. So I think they are now following each other, trying to use each other and pass each other with the DRS as well, trying to making sure they don't fight too hard, and when they're going to be in the power tyres, making their job a bit easier as well by catching up when you have the fresher rubber towards the end of the Grand Prix. As Eric is right at the back of Haas, he puts himself into P1 before turn 3, as he just flies away basically in the DRS zone, as Haas will have the DRS at the back of Eric as we go down towards turn 4, but he'll not make a lunge just yet. He will wait later on in the Grand Prix. Ruben has picked himself up a 3-second time to see Weisbrand is right behind Finn, but he doesn't make the move going down towards turn 3. But Finn Geerts is not using his ERS, and Weisbrand goes up into P6 very easily. Now, next target hit for him is Lucas in P5. The top 4 in this Grand Prix has a pitted. Fireplace is ahead of Octavia as he sustained damage early on in this Grand Prix as well, around about lap 6 or 7 when I think he made contact with the Red Bull, got put on the wall, and ever since then his race hasn't gone his way at all, unfortunately for him. And Daniela, who's dropped into P17, is spun at turn 4 as the Haas driver, and his luck goes from bad to worse, because in the sprint race he was up there, but he got pushed out wide into turn 4, and he qualified so high as well. Here comes Haas towards turn 3 we go. He puts himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Amos goes pits to get on the mini compound tyres. Will take them 16 laps as Lucas gets another 3-second penalty in this Grand Prix. Goes from bad to worse for him as well, as Finn Geerts has overtaken Weisbrand. He puts himself now into P5 because it's so difficult to break out a DRS range even on fresher tyres. He's not able to break that DRS, so Weisbrand once again have to think about the Ferrari driver, as Daniel has retired in the pit lane as he puts himself into P5.
Yeah, Isbrand and Finn Geerts, they can work together. They're gaining a bit on Lucas, so just a few tenths every lap, every now and then. Oh, someone into the wall. That's Job in the V-Carb has gone into the wall in the middle sector. He was staying out on these hards as Geitenkaas pulls into the pit lane. In the meantime, Eric has also picked up a 3-second time penalty, by the way, but Geitenkaas goes in early from the hards, and his teammate, by the way, is still out. That's quite a suspicious moment there, but both V-Carbs here on track, almost recreating Crashgate here, but that's Job out on track and Geitenkaas into the pit lane. But yeah, Eric and Lucas still staying out as Job picks up a 10-second penalty as well. Not sure what's going on there, but Geitenkaas quite early to go into the mediums.
Yeah, it'll take 15 laps as well, so that'll be a
good. As Finn Geerts ahead of Isbrand again, but not for much longer though, as Job has retired from the session on track, and that's a safety car. That is a safety car, and that is actually very bad news for his teammate Geitenkaas, who just pitted. So not quite working together like Fernando Alonso and Nelson Piquet Jr. did back in the day, but yeah, safety car deployed as Job has crashed out. That's great news actually for Eric in the lead. You're still there, Jamie? Eric into the pit lane on lap 21 from the hards. We'll put on a set of mediums, and I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, Lucas into the pit lane as well, Isbrand into the pit lane, Finn Geerts, everyone is going into the pit lane Lucas with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is one way to throw away your race. He already had a 6-second time penalty for track limits, and he's now has added another 10 seconds to that, so 16-second time penalties. Yeah, he's not going to be fighting for the win in this race. F1 Shorts has stayed out. He's the only one, along with Ghost and Geitikas, who's now P4. But Eric, with that safety car, has now stayed in the lead of this race, and he's on the fresh set of mediums to go to the end of the race. He's also got a bit of a buffer to the cars behind, because F1 Shorts in the Mercedes, he's on 8-lap old hards. So come the restart of this race, Eric might just have an opportunity to build a gap to the cars behind and try and make something of this race and potentially go for the race win, as Ahmed Ghost in the Alpine has just pitted a few laps before. Geitikas P4, Lucas then in P5, he's ahead of Eastbrand and Finn Geert, but with that 16-second time penalty, I think is pretty much out of contention for the win. So the Williams team not looking too strong in this race. They were great in the sprint race with a 1-2, but right now it's not looking likely that either of them is going to get even onto the podium with how things are looking right now. Eastbrand and Finn Geert, one of the few drivers without a penalty. Geitikas as well, and Geitikas has got a good chance of winning this race as well. He's got a fresh set of tires, and he's got no track limit penalty. Nor has Fireblaze, who is just well, this safety car's pretty much saved his race. So he had an incident early on in the race where he had to pit for repairs, front wing damage. He's in P11 right now on a fresh set of tires. He's well back into this race and potentially could actually be fighting for a top 5, maybe even podium, who knows.
Yeah.
We've got 13 laps remaining.
Sorry about that, Milan. I had a coffee fit in the background, and yeah, I've been struggling to speak throughout the whole of this Grand Prix. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but yeah, I'm struggling to even like create sentences because my voice, and yeah, struggling to just talk in general. But I've tried my absolute best for you guys, and but pushing myself. I've been ill for like such a long time. It's been so frustrating because I want to give my best performance out of comms, and sometimes it gets me down because I'm not able to like talk about things I want to, or able to get the words out without having to think about coughing or clearing my voice. So really do apologise about that, Milan, but yeah, I'll be trying. I am back, and I'll try my absolute best towards the last 13 laps of this Grand Prix. Hopefully this cold goes away, because I've had it for like a long time now, so it's very, very frustrating indeed. So Hackett Haas in P4 is in the best spot because of the brand new set of mini compound tyres, plus also the top 3 have a 3-second time penalty or more or less, and F1 Shorts is on the older hard compound tyres, so he might get dispatched very quickly with the guys behind on newer tyres. Eastbound in P6 also could be on course for a good result. So is Finn Geert in P7. The safety car is coming in towards the end of this lap there, so I'll watch these drivers then. Let's see what happens in the last 13 laps of this Grand Prix. Eric unfortunately will not, well, he might be under massive pressure because he has a 3-second time penalty, so in fact he has a 6-second time penalty. No, he has 3. I thought somebody else had a 6 penalty, but they go racing once again then. Eric takes the lead. F1 Shorts will be under massive pressure from the guys behind on the newer tyres as we head towards turn 1 then. Any moves going down here so far? All the moves will happen towards turn 3 as we use each other. We get slipstream at the back of each other. We'll see then, is anybody looking to make a move up the inside? In towards turn 3 we go. Hakedas quite close towards Ghost, but not able to make a move as he's a bit too far back. Amos Kick ahead of Ivan going up towards turn 3 there, but Kick takes 9th place away. Looking for a recovery drive is Amos Kick after just the bad luck he's sustained so far in his Grand Prix with foot damage. As I thought Ghost for 1 second will go up the inside of F1 Shorts, but not to be for the time being. Gets a better exit, but not able to find any way past as F1 Shorts places his car in the middle of the road. Goes a bit wide though, and here comes Ghost, sorry, as he goes up the inside. Nice move there from Ghost as the Mercedes driver had no grip through turn 6 and turn 7, was left exposed, and here comes Hackett Haas now. Be very careful not to hit the back of the Mercedes driver because they have different grip, different speeds with the corners, and therefore you've got to adapt to other people's speed as well, otherwise you'll cause carnage. And here comes Hackett Haas now side by side with the Mercedes driver. And he puts himself now up into P3. Eric, however, or does he? Yes, he does, because F1 Shorts was still around the outside, going towards Turn 1, and Weisbrand is right behind Amos Lucas. Amos Lucas now side by side with the Mercedes. Here comes Weisbrand as well. 3 abreast going up towards Turn 3 we go. The Mercedes is sandwiched, has made contact there. Now, Lucas and Weisbrand are side by side, still in the corner. Lucas stays ahead for the time being, puts himself into P4. Weisbrand stays in P5, and here comes Mercedes driver of F1 Shorts, who gets overtaken by Finn as well. So F1 Shorts has went from P2 to P7 in the space of 2 laps there on the hard compound tyres. Now Misha is looking to take advantage as well, trying to go around the outside. He does. He puts his Sauber now up into P7. That's a great move there, and the Mercedes is dropping down like a stone after his gamble not paying off, staying out there on the hard compound tyres. But Lucas and Weisbrand, despite going 3 abreast up towards Turn 3, they made it out unscathed, thankfully, and they continue racing with the top 5 in close proximity as Misha picks himself up at 3 seconds empty.
Amazed how they didn't end up pointing in the wrong direction there in turn 3, going wheel to wheel 3 wide, but they did somehow, as Eric is in the lead, but he's got no ERS left, nor has Ghost. So Geitegaas is taking his chances. He's closing the gap towards the top 2. Lucas is right behind him as well, and then you've got Lucas into the back there of Geitegaas, who was getting slowed down there by the Alpine of Ghost. But as I was saying, he's one of Finn Geerts also close behind. Finn Geerts is going to have to try and go for around the outside of the Haas. You can have a look. He is going to try and go around the outside, but that is not quite going to work out, and he will have to stay behind for a little while longer as the Ferrari is trying to get past of the Haas. There's only 10 laps to go. It's a bit of a sprint race towards the end, so you have to make your moves in time to be able to still fight for a race win. The entire top 12 is still within the arrest range of each other. It's a massive fight. Eric is in the lead though by 9/10 of a second. He's almost built the gap from over a second, but I think not quite enough, and now Ghost is going to have to triple DRS to help him get back within the attacking range, as he is going to now have to DRS to run towards turn 3, but it goes wide in turn 1. The Alpine goes off track. Doesn't lose too much time though. Here comes Geitegaas though. He's going to go up the inside of the Alpine, and Geitegaas is now going to be up into P2. The Alpine still on the outside, but the V-Carb through on the inside. Geitegaas up into second place. Going to now try and chase after Eric to go for that race lead of this race.
You knew that move was important because Eric was pulling away, and here comes Lucas now the inside up towards turn 4. He puts himself into P3. Let's assess the penalty situation to understand. Oh my goodness me, Lucas has a 16-second penalty, so he's definitely out of the podium contention. What's happened there?
Ghost went into the back there of Lucas and almost lost control of his Alpine, but go on.
Yeah, so Lucas has a 16-second penalty there, so he will definitely not be on the podium for tonight's race there, so exclude him from the equation. Eric has a 3-second penalty, Ghost has a 3-second penalty, and Ghost gets another penalty with a 6-second penalty now. Weisbrand is right behind him as we pull out the slipstream to go up the inside in towards turn 1. And he did it. Nice move there. He puts himself into P4. He could be on course for second place here as well. But the problem is, though, if Weisbrand wants to win this Grand Prix, he needs to dispatch Lucas to get towards Kaiken Haas, and also dispatch Eric, because Kaiken Haas takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Finn Hurst puts himself into P5, side by side there with the AMS driver of Ghost. And Finn gets a much better exit than the LP driver. He's up into P5 now, as we can see that Eric retains the lead of the Grand Prix again, puts himself back into first place. Eric's just hoping that the guys behind, like Finn Hurst, Weisbrand and Kaiken Haas, pick up a 3-second penalty. But can Kaiken Haas, Weisbrand and Finn Hurst keep it nice and clean towards the last stages, get no penalties and be rewarded with a 1-2-3? But the question is, what order can it be? This track is brutal for Chad Lewis indeed. Anybody can pick him up, and so far 4 people haven't picked him up, including Fireblaze. Fireblaze could be promoted up the order dramatically as well, from P10 to P4. Be very careful now not to pick a penalty himself if he wants to try and get that result. Despite being out of the equation for the whole race with full wind damage at the start of the Grand Prix when the Red Bull spun and hit the wall with him, he's done a fantastic job recovering so far, and maybe big points could be rewarded for him. Kaiken Haas takes the lead. He puts himself into first. Here comes Lucas now side by side with the Aston Martin. He puts himself into second place. In towards turn 3 we go. Weisbrand is now ahead of Finn, but the Aston Martin gets the squeeze, and Haas has to slow down. Here comes Finn now. He puts himself back into 4th place ahead of Eastbound, but Eastbound fights back. He's a bit more battering than the Ferrari driver. Aston Martin Eric goes down the inside. There's contact between the Ferrari and the Haas. And here comes Eric to take Peter away from Lucas again. Wow, there's contact there between those two, as looks like those two are still going once again. There's a lot of things to point out for, but this is really bad for YS Brand and Finn Hertz. They're not able to leapfrog Eric and Lucas to fight for the lead on the Grand Prix because those guys do not have penalties. So those two are really struggling to get past Lucas and Eric. Haas is in the best spot because he's got two cars in between him that have penalties.
Indeed, but Geitkaas is one without the DRS, and Eric undoubtedly is going to try and regain that first place. He had a bit of a moment on the last lap with Lucas coming out of turn 3 as they almost lock wheels, but Lucas is going to have a go on Eric as well. We're going to see potentially 3 wide. Eric goes to a gap that almost isn't there, but he goes around the outside, and Eric is retaking the lead of this race. Geitkaas is on the inside. He's going to have the worst exit of the two of them, and Lucas is now up to second place, and now Geitkaas is in P3 and right into the hands there of his rivals in this race, Eastbrand and Finn Geurts. This is great news, actually not for Finn Geurts. He's all the way back down with 1.5 seconds behind as Lucas takes lead of this race. But now it's Geitkaas versus Eastbrand. It's on as Ghosts at the moment. It's all kicking off in the background.
Oh yeah, it is indeed, and Ghost just drifted to turn 4. They lost about 5 places, and now Misha's up into P6, Kick in P7, 5 places in 8th, right behind these two as well. But that was a blessing there for YS. But did he spin? Oh, I thought I saw a car spin there when I went off forward. But here comes Fireblade side by side with Kick. 2 old championship rivals as Fireblade now puts himself up into P7 ahead of Kick. But back towards the top 4. Oh, Fireblade goes off the circuit in the background there. Got to be very careful. That could be a second warning or first. I'm not quite sure. But you only get 2 warnings, and that's a penalty heading his way. 5 laps left to go. YS Brand has got his target in his side, Haas, because Haas had a big advantage, but Eric and Lucas overtook him and put him in the clutches of his rival. As we head down towards turn 3, as you can see that's the Ferrari of Fireblades up the inside of Misha. Can he make it stick? As Finn Hertz has been dropped out of the DRS range of the top 4. He had a massive moment on the last lap, did Finn, but I'm not quite sure what happened to him as well. As we head down towards turn 4 we go. Fireblades up the inside of Misha, puts himself into P6. A nice recovery drive. AMS Ghost is ahead of Ivan. Ivan fighting back on the inside towards turn 6 and turn 7, but the RP driver just stays. No, he doesn't. He spins him. And there's more contact as well between the Mercedes driver, I think that's F1 Short, and Octavia, and Ivan there just tapped or sideswiped him, unfortunately, and they both rejoined down in last place. The Mercedes driver of Netherlands is off the track, but YS Brand, keep an eye on the battle for the top 3 because it's so intense here. 2 of them do not have penalties. Finn Hertz could still win the podium because he's not too far away still. The gap is 1.3 between himself and YS Brand. Here we are on the long straight, heading up towards turn 2. Uphill left-handed we go. Eric takes the lead. Here comes Haas now. Will he dare go for a lunge with the inside of Lucas? Will he try and risk it? He knows his main rival is right behind him because he doesn't have a penalty. There's contact there between Fireblades and Finn Hertz. Not quite sure what happened there between those two, but Fireblades now is up into P5. A potential podium could be on the cards after a likely situation for Fireblades, but Fireblades got to make sure.
Once again, Finn Geurts running into the back of his teammate. This is the last thing they needed. Fireblades just overtook his teammate as he's now up the inside of Misha up the inside there. Out of absolutely nowhere, going way too wide. And here comes Kick. Oh, and there's contact. And Kick has got some front wing damage now.
Again.
Oh my goodness me, what is going on here?
And once again, Kick picks up damage. He'll be very frustrated with that one indeed. I think Finn Hertz is driving very frustrated because he's lost a lot of pace. And Lucas gets another 3-second penalty in this race as well. But the battle, Fireblades will be on the podium because Lucas has a 16-second penalty. 19-second penalty, sorry, because he just picked that one up. Misha is ahead of Kick. But like I said, the main battle is between Kick and Haas. Oh, look at this, the Lucas, and here comes Haas up the inside with Sebastian Vettel overtook Hamilton in 2018, and Haas there puts himself into P2. Lucas tried to defend it all on the outside there, but Haas managed to find a bit of space and put himself into P2. Now YS Brand needs to take advantage of him. How are these guys going to play out? Because they've both got somebody in the way that has penalties.
Yeah, it's just very tricky indeed. It's all about car placement in these final few laps. Something that the Ferrari drivers haven't done. They pretty much taken themselves out of contention of potential race when it's between these four. Then, if you take out Lucas and Eric because of their penalties. So Geitenkaas versus Isbrand. Geitenkaas has the advantage right now. There's 3 laps to go. Who's it gonna be between the two of them, or is any of them gonna pick up a penalty? Who knows? Anything is possible in these final 3 laps where it's very intense between all these drivers. Geitenkaas P2, and he is probably going to have to go at Eric once again, coming out of turn 1 onto the second DRS straight as Misha is going to the pit lane for soft. No, he's retiring from the session. He went off track earlier this lap as well. And here comes Geitenkaas. He's going to go for the race lead once again. And Isbot knows he has to take advantage of this, trying to get past Lucas, but Lucas is going up the inside of Eric into turn 3. Almost contact between the two. Eric with the better exit. Here comes Isbrand 3 wide, and Isbrand gets past Lucas, and that is exactly what he needed to do. And he's now right behind Eric, so he's one place closer to Geitenkaas than he was 1 corner ago.
I thought it was out track on both, but only got one of them as Eric was able to stay in P2. So Eastbound, he needs to dispatch Eric as quickly as he can so he can focus on Haas for P1. But I don't think Haas is in the best place in first place there with the last 2 laps of this Grand Prix, because we've seen the power of the DRS as well on the straight. So could Band in P3 be in the best spot to take the lead of the Grand Prix? Who knows? But the race win will either go towards Eastbound or Haas in P1. Eric goes off the track once again, DRS enabled for the Haas man. He's got to keep Lucas behind him. He can't afford to let Lucas go, otherwise it be even more difficult try and fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. As we head down towards turn 1 we go. Let's see then as we climb towards the hill towards turn 3. And Lucas looks like he's pulling to the left hand side and letting it go. And here comes Eastbound for the lead of the Grand Prix. He puts himself into first as we go side by side in towards turn 3. Haas has lost it. He's been demoted into P4. Unbelievable. Band now has the pendulum swung towards him. He's into first, and he could be in the best place towards the end of the Grand Prix as well, because the 2 guys behind him are penalties, and Haas, who had a terrible exit at turn 3, has lost it all. It looked like
there was
everything.
Contact between himself and Lucas, I believe. There was some sort of contact. Geitenkaas did get hit by either Lucas or Eric, but that's so unlucky for Geitenkaas. He was in contention for the win, but now he's in P4. There's absolutely no chance of taking this race win away of Eastbound, who is very comfortable in front. He knows that the car behind is 19 seconds worth of penalties as we go on to the final lap of this race.
Final lap, Eastbound leads this Grand Prix, but anything can still happen in this Grand Prix, because I don't think Lucas will give up despite having 90 seconds of time penalties there. Eastbound, who started in 4th place, a great qualifying. Unfortunately, got stuck behind both Ferraris in the sprint race. Here comes Lucas now for the lead of the Grand Prix. Eastbound knows he doesn't have to fight against him. His main target is in P4, so keep an eye on the guy in P4, making sure you don't go side by side unnecessarily against Eric or Lucas. Don't make sure you don't make contact with him either, very crucially. But he wants to win on track. He's a racing driver, and he will, as he reclaims the lead of the Grand Prix ahead. And Haas will finish in P2 still, but he'll be very disappointed with that contact. I'm not quite sure who hit him, Lucas or Eric, but either way, it has destroyed his race, and Eastbound was able to take advantage of Haas as well and put himself into first place on lap 35. Very patient game as well. Eastbound has been playing, and he made it work in the end of his Grand Prix as well. Here he is then towards the final 2 corners. Eastbound comes around the final corner. The checker flag will be in his sights, and for the first time this season, Eastbound wins the Austrian Grand Prix. A fantastic race for him. Haas finishes in P2. Fireblades on the podium despite a broken wing at the early stages of this race as well. It's been a phenomenal race, filling through some spills with safety cars coming in as well. Plenty of overtakes, plenty of battling, but in the end, it's Eastbound who gets the victory after being struck behind both Ferraris in the sprint race. But in the feature race, this time round, he makes it work for him, and he coordinated his attacks at the right time. Fantastic driving indeed. Apologies about my voice as well, but I'm trying to get better myself. So, not the best commentary seen from me so far, but I'll definitely get better and better. But Milan, once again, mate, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for being alongside me in the commentary box, and for the 3rd time commentating this season, it's been very good with you again, mate.
Absolutely agree. Thank you very much. I do love enjoy commentating with you, and in this league as well. It's always exciting to see these races. And Isbrand, what a performance he's had. He's pinpointed those final laps to perfection and getting the moves done when he needed to. In the end, it has paid off as he's the man on the top step of the podium. Isbrand for Haas wins the Austrian Grand Prix, and it's for the first time this season we don't see a team getting a 1-2. So that's something to write about. But Isbrand wins out of Geitengas, and well done to Fireblaze as well. His race got ruined early on in the race, and in the end to finish on the podium, I'm sure he will be very pleased with that. But what a race that was. Brilliant action from start to finish. Yeah, love that one. Classic Austria race with DRS trains all the ways too.
Geitengas, who did DNF at the Miami Grand Prix to finish second as well, is a Dutch 1-2-3 as well between the three Dutches. But yeah, Eastbound, I know he's got good pace. He just hasn't been. He's just had been unlucky this season. Had the DNF back at the Australian Grand Prix. It was a double Haas DNF back in Australia. Didn't turn up for the second race, but here in the third race, really showed his pace. And finally, it has worked out for him as well. Can he keep it up for the rest of the season? We're about to find out. But yeah, this championship is spicing up because we're seeing different people. And once again, for the third time in a row, Ferrari are on the podium. It's their third podium in a row. And P3s, I think it was Mike who finished P3 at the Miami Grand Prix. And it was Finn who finished P3 at the Australian Grand Prix, and now it's Fireblaze. Something with Ferrari in P3s, always getting a P3.
But never quite on the top step of the podium. But I'm sure we will be seeing them fighting for that win sooner rather than later in this season. They've been quick every single race, but haven't just quite perfected their racecraft. Haven't quite been able to fight for the win, either due to bad luck or some strategies. But they have some very quick drives on the team. So I'm sure we will see them on the top step of the podium at least once this season. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, indeed, not a good podium for Fireblaze in the end. What a race that was.
Thank you very Milan. Thank you very everybody for watching. Especially to Todzines. And yeah, I appreciate you guys having me for comms. I really do appreciate it. I know Division 2 is a Dutchman on the commentary. I watched it, and I don't know your name, but the Division 2 commentator is amazing to listen to as well. So watch Division 2 tomorrow. It was... I'm not quite sure if I'll do it tomorrow or not, depending on how I feel. But if I have to, well, not if I have to, but if I want to, I'll probably join you guys for Division 2 alongside the Dutch commentator. But yeah, thank you so much for having me once again. Been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you all for the next race. Join me back once again with Milan Langer for the next race on Friday at 7:30. And not 7:30, sorry, 6 o'clock, because most of my leagues start at 7:30. But join us back at 6 o'clock, and we should be back to normal services with long qualifying and a 50% race. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye for now.